we're going to have a bit of a chat about Spud because we've done a lot of rides in Ballarat. We've done a lot of rides in a lot of places with Spud, and we're going to cover off. Now, all of it's funny. There's not one dull story at all.
Well, nothing's ever dull.
No. But the mornings, Tuddy used to pick me up.
It was a lottery as to whether Spud would be either on time, what he would be wearing, and what sort of mood he was in on the day. So sometimes he'd just ride straight past us, stick his finger up and say, catch me if you can.
Yeah.
Some days he'd disappear off into the distance and we'd see a little speck, a big speck, in the distance as we finally caught up to him.
He always liked to get out in front, but it was always that look up the street, see it, because it was usually dark, because it was 10 to 6 in the morning. So see a light coming down, big light flash, got closer and closer and thought, here's Spud, he's going to pull up and say, morning boys or something like that. Nah, straight past. Morning cockheads.
Yeah, cockheads, that's right.
Morning cockheads.
Cockheads.
Straight past.
I've got a story. I actually wanted to tell this story at his tribute, actually, but it was a velodrome and it was Jerry Ryan putting it together, and I think it was world class, Australian titles, on the boards, fixed wheels, so no brakes, and it was the chief, Jason Dunstall, and Spud going to go head to head 3 laps. So the plan was, and Spud was all into tactics and plans, as we will get onto. 3 laps, just go out together, just warm the crowd up, get to the second lap, they'll start to get to their feet. The chief will go out in front, and then I'll come over the top, meaning Spud, and because I'm a better rider, and breast the tape. That's the plan. So, all right, all good. We sit down, there's steaks. So the chief's just nibbling on his and had half a Heineken. Spud's gone and hoovered a fillet steak without a chomp in it and 6 Heinekens. So he just thought, free food, I'm caveman, I'm eating. So they get on the bike. First lap, they go out, the Jaco Flyers, I remember it. And they were neck and neck, and then surely enough, Chief went out on the second lap and the crowd started, and it's a packed house on the boards in the velodrome. And then the chief, cheeky chief, decided to hit it hard, go hard. So he did, left Spud back at the pickets, thought, I have to get the skates on here to knock the chief over, and the chief's just winding up, Anyway, he got to the third lap and Spud's nowhere. He cannot get him, so he's had to go full gas, full rat power, and he got the speed wobbles. I'm cringing. I didn't know whether to laugh and Spud and we'd just taken the ice cream helmet off him. Remember he used to, in the blue ice cream tipped over hat, we actually gave him a gyro riding that proper one, and he snatched it off me, and I thought, that's Spud's way of saying thank you, by the way. Yeah. He had hit the speed wobbles, and I don't know how he survived, but he stayed up. That is one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Well, Spud was great with tactics, as we know, wasn't he? He was fantastic. Remember those days we used to go to Southern Vets? Sandown.
Oh, my
Sandown racecourse.
That was an hour of hell.
Yeah, but we'd go out there, we'd either ride out there or in the car with Spud, and every time was, righto boys, I know, tactics this time, we've got to get it right, and we can win this. So, we'd start off in the race with me, Tuddy, and
we'll go 3 laps early.
Go do the few laps. We'll go around, fourth lap we'd say, fourth lap, we'll all get together, make sure we're together and wait for my word.
Breakaway.
And then we'll go for the breakaway and then we'll stay away. So we'd go around, we'd be riding around, all get together.
Breakaway!
So we'd get up to Spud, I'd get up to Spud and go, right, Spud, are we ready to go? No, not this lap. No, wait for another one. Okay, all right, so we sit back again, we go around again when we get to the next lap. Okay, Spud, right, I think it's time. No, I don't think so. It's not quite right. Let's just wait. So, all right, so we're up to about the 6th or 7th lap now. So go up to him again. We're all together. Right, Spud, ready to go? Nah, I'm stuffed. Absolutely rooted. He said, can't do it.
Look after your own race.
You do what you like. I don't care. Leave me alone.
The first time I ever sat behind Spud, it was a brilliant morning. Sun was just coming out. Used to always have to get up early, and I'm thinking, we're going into a sun shower. I think we were around Mordialloc, around just at the tip of Beach Road where we'd set off from Brighton. And I'm sitting behind, and Spud didn't realise that he is a sweater. he just oozes. And to his credit, for a big bloke on the bike, he actually used to go pretty good. He worked hard, but he sweated. So you'd be sitting in his wake and it'd be coming over the top. And I seriously thought it was raining one morning. I thought it was raining. It was like sitting in the Brighton Bars sweat box, seriously.
It's either coming off his head or it's coming out of his mouth when he's abusing people.
His version of summer rain, exactly.
Yeah.
But my, I think the moment that I'll remember most on the bike was when we did, I think it was the first Amy Gillett ride. We started in Geelong, did the loop and came back around. So I'm sitting at the front as usual with Spud in behind me, and I had Michael Rogers to my right, Spud and Cadell Evans behind me.
Yeah,
and we're just cruising
Cadell.
along. We were just cruising along. Cadell Evans was, I think that was as he was still a pro. He was shitting himself with two nuff amateurs around
Brady
him.
was in there too.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, Cadell looks across at Spud, or at least behind me he looked across at Spud, and he looks across and he says, "Gee, you ride really well for a big bloke, don't you?" And I'm going, shit. And I turn around and Spud's looking at me and he goes, "You heard that.
Yeah.
I'm going to remind you of that for the rest of your life." And he did, and I'm going to remember it for the rest of my life.
So we get off the bike and he's sweating, seriously. Word has it from the youngest, Keeley, that he used to come home instead of washing his kit. Because you knew when he was at Brighton Bars, because you'd walk in the dressing rooms, you're trying to find Spud, and you knew he was at Brighton Bars because there was a shoe, a sock, his kit, his gear, his t-shirt, spread the entire dressing room. He used to kick it off as he went to the steam room. He used to get home, and instead of putting it in the wash, as we all do, and soap it up, straight in the dryer. Straight in the dryer, and just used to...
out the middleman.
Just straight in the dryer, and then the next morning, bang, peel it on, away we go, and... I fed him. It was like a kid's lunchbox that hadn't eaten his lunch for about 2 weeks. Wow, he was on the nose at times, Spud. And it's because he stuck his gear in the dryer.
The early days of riding we did around the bay. And, we were all pretty green at riding at this stage. And Spud, being a big bloke, he's pretty worried about hills and things like that. So we decided, we went around the bay, we went the other way, towards Sorrento first, and so we got down Oliver's Hill in those days. It was a bit of a challenge, Are you going to get up it or not? But, So we go down there, get to Oliver's Hill, and there's I think it was a Herald Sun reporter or Age reporter, I can't remember who. So a reporter halfway up the hill taking photos of everybody as he goes up. So Spud's there and he's there and he thought, I better put on a bit of a show here. And so he put his foot down hard on the pedals, and his back wheel shot straight out of the back of the bike.
Serious?
Straight out the back of the bike. So he had tightened his wheel up. His back wheel comes out, Spud's clipped in, bang, over there. So gets up, dusts himself off, looks at the reporter, said, "You published that and I'll rip your arms off."
He used to get physical when nothing verbal came out. He used to get physical.
He just wanted to kill somebody.
Yeah. He stitched me up one day, and talking about Sandown. So you ride for an hour, and then they ring the bell, and then that's the bell lap. So tactics really kick in. You have a breakaway, blokes block, the whole lot. So I didn't know this. This is my first ride at Sandown. So Spud goes, "Robbo, go. You go, and we'll chase you, and we'll be right with the plan." So I went. I've crossed the line with my arms in the air, thinking I've won, and there's another lap to go, and Spud goes,
He just stitched you up.
You blokes were all in on it.
That's right.
Oh my God, my heart's hanging out of my chest. I thought I'd won this thing first up, won the money. Spud. Seriously.
Did you actually finish the race, or did you just give up? You just went straight to the chain?
I was cannonball. Did you love that when a bloke got cannonball? What was cannonball?
I don't know where that came from, but there were at least one or two riders every ride, and he'd go, "He's been cannonballed." And I think the best thing, Robbo, was if you got cannonballed, he was like high-fiving. He was as happy as it got.
He gave some nicknames to a lot of people on the road too, didn't he?
He did. Alfalfa's the best one, I think.
Is that stuff?
we had a guy who was riding with us who was a huge unit. And then in 12 months, he basically dropped 30% of his weight, was riding every day. He rolls up one day, Spud looks at him and he's gone, Jesus Christ, what have you been doing? Have you been eating alfalfa sprouts for 12 months? I'm calling you alfalfa. I saw him last week, he's still getting called alfalfa.
Yeah. Ballarat, wow, Tuddy.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. You know, we've done a lot of riding around Ballarat, as you said, over the years. You know, Spud was always good at arranging rides, and particularly if there's a charity, you know, afoot.
Yeah.
You know, he was always good at doing that, and I think that's going to be something that we're going to miss. You know, and the charities are going to miss. So we need to make sure that we continue, you know, that legacy. But certainly the 160 Ks is going to be a challenge.
That reminds me of a story. I just got back from overseas, so I hadn't done the riding that you blokes had done for that lead-in 4 weeks. So block wind again, riding into the wind, it's tough, and Tuddy's probably out in front just grinding, and we're all trying to catch and stick in and survive. And I got about 2/3 of the way through, and I said, "You blokes go. I'm done. I am done. Just get me off this bike. You're going too hard for me." And it was either Spud or Tuddy just turned on its heels, came back, threw me a bunch of bananas in the gutter and said, "We're off. That's it." Bang. Took off.
I remember that, and I can tell you it wasn't Spud because he was too busy laughing about a K up the road going, "Leave him. Let Robbo go. Just leave him. We don't care. We've broken him."
And he would never turn around.
He wouldn't turn
He would
around.
never.
And waste 1 kilojoule of energy on a bike.
Even if blokes had punches, you know, you stop and do the puncher and help one another. Nah.
No.
He was
No.
there. I'll see you
That's
about 10k down.
For a team player, like for someone with his background, he wasn't.
No.
When it came to riding bikes and being with mates, but that was part of the beauty. And you always knew it was on. And that was the great thing about riding with him and spending time with him, was that it was always going to be interesting. And it was always fun. Everyone liked having him around because he was always talking, he was always creating interest in our rides, and we're going to miss that.
Yeah. Just to leave a picture, about 40 of us went to Brighton Bars because he loved that place. That was after his ride, he always went back there. So we went out the back and formed a circle like the surfers do. Yeah. And we splashed around and whatever, and said a couple of kind words in the middle of the circle, treading water out the back of the bars. And the guys always related back to the cycling stories.
Yeah.
So you're right, Tuddy. I think he was at his happiest when he was on the saddle, in that steam room, and good smile, good stories.
I think us bike riders, sometimes we get a raw deal, you know, from some people in the community because, you know, we're in our Lycra looking maybe not so good for some of us, and we're taking up the road and all
But
those sorts of
some people
things.
do take up the road. Like,
And they do.
Properly.
But the reality is, though, bike riding is really good for you from a physical perspective, and I think it's a really good thing for you from a mental perspective as well.
Yeah.
You know, you're with your mates.
And you're from the area, and we've done a lot of rides in Ballarat. How important is it for this to continue in Spud's name? Because the response has been sensational.
Well, it's up to us and the others that are riding, you know, on the Sunday to make sure that it does, you know, that it does become successful and it does become part of Spud's legacy.
Yeah. He's got a great one. Thanks, boys.
Robbo.
Thanks, Paddy. Good to see you.
Robbo.
Marco.
Thank you. Taddy.
Thanks, Mark.
See you again, mate.
Cheers.
Okay. Cheers.